All right, I'm recording. So welcome to the call tonight. Thank you for joining, ladies. We are going to go through a couple announcements first, and then I will get into the topic I wanted to cover is nurturing your network. So it's something that I've been working on and came across some interesting information and just thought I would share what I have learned. Okay. So let me see how there we go. Okay. So as far as announcements, did either of you go to Super Saturday where you guys are? No. Okay. All right. So I was trying to think of what's been announced since the last time we had a call. So obviously there's 2 new Shakeology flavors, which I'll just touch on. 2 new workout programs were announced. The Summit selection guide, if you're going to Summit, that just came out with, I should have put that in front of me, but the workshop selection and the workout selection, all of that is out. I think there was like a whole schedule for like elite top coaches and when they can register, but I think general registration is May 10th, I believe. So it's a good idea to kind of go through that and get an idea. If you have questions, if this is the first time going, feel free to reach out to myself or Tiffany, because I know the first time I went, this will be my 3rd summit. The first time I was like, whoa, I don't even know what all this stuff means. So basically take a look at like the workshop topics and see if any of those are more interesting than others. And typically, like Tiffany and I will try to get on the same schedule so that we can do everything together. And then if whatever you're interested in workouts, I would suggest pick your number 1 workout and then have a backup in case the number 1 thing is full when you go to register. There's 2 new training documents that I've seen come out. The business activity tracker, if anybody uses that. I honestly, like personally, I don't use the corporate one because I like to kind of create my own spreadsheet, but the new one I do think is better. So if you haven't seen that, you can find it under training, the training library on the back office, or I have a copy of it if you guys want me to send it to you. They also just released a new document called the invitation process, which I thought was pretty good. That's kind of, I'm going to cover some of that information tonight. But if you haven't looked at that yet, I think that's a good one to read through and then share with any coaches that you bring on to your own team, because I thought that it kind of broke it down better than what I had seen in the past. So that's a good one to check out. And then the only other big announcement that I could think of was the all access Beachbody on Demand and Shakeology Challenge Pack is still on sale this month till the end of this month for $160, which is awesome. And the Kickstart Challenge Pack, which is Beachbody on Demand, Shakeology, and the 3-day refresh is $205. So great time to get people started with Beachbody on Demand and Shakeology. Okay. Can you guys see on here, do you see like us at the side of your screen, or do you just see my screen? I want to see if I can move you guys, but I don't know. I don't have my mouse. Oh, sorry. Oh, technical difficulties. Let's do this. All right. Can you girls see it? Good.
Okay. I see us over on the right-hand side.
Okay. Before it was covering up all the text. So hopefully this is working well. Okay. So the new Shakeology flavors, I am personally really excited about this because I only drink the vegan. So there's a vegan vanilla and a vegan cafe latte that are both available now in the US. When I was preparing for this, I found out that Canada is not supposed to be available until early 2018 because they have to go through all kinds of stuff with getting that approved with the Canadian government. If you have any Canadian customers, just FYI. There's 2 new superfoods that you can learn more about. Matcha powder is in there, and chaga, which is a special mushroom. And those are new. I have not yet gone in to see if those are going to be in all the flavors or just these new ones, if they're changing all the formulations. I'm not sure. But those 2 ingredients are going in here. There's a bunch of options for ordering You can get alternating bags. I put those on the screen, but you can alternate different flavors. And I also looked, there's combo boxes of packets available. So there's a Barista combo pack that has the vegan chocolate, vanilla, and cafe latte. There's one that has the chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, and there's one with just chocolate and vanilla. So all of those should be available now to order. And then I also saw that the new Shakeology samplers, right now there's, I think the one with all the regular flavors, and there's a vegan one. Those are both going to be discontinued, and a new one, which I don't know what the details are, is going to be available May 10th. So I'm thinking that would probably be an awesome time when that comes out to do another Shakeology sampler group, where we could sample the new flavors or have people sample the new flavors. So there wasn't anything available in the FAQ as far as what that's going to be, but I'm sure they're going to announce it whenever they have that. And then if you haven't yet, I haven't yet, but I've saved it on my to-do list. Darren O'Lean on the Super Life Facebook page, not Shakeology, but Super Life, went live this past week talking about the new Shakeology flavors. And it's about 20 minutes. You can either go to the Shakeology page that was shared on there, or you can go to the Super Life page. But take a listen to that because there's some changes. I believe there is cane sugar that's been added, and he addresses that. I know that was a question that came up in one of the coach groups, so check that out. Okay, moving on. I don't know if you've seen the first program that's coming out May 16th is UV2, like U version 2, by Leandro, who's the trainer for Brazil Butt Lift. I put the FAQ 2658 if you want to check out more information on that program. There's also an article on the Team Beachbody blog that was from April 8th that has the promo video on YouTube for the program and just kind of like a little breakdown of the program. But it's basically a dance cardio type program for beginners. 30-minute workouts. Check out the video, see if I can see a target market for this program. I think it's good to be familiar with all the programs, but it definitely seems to be targeting beginner people that aren't working out at all and trying to give them something fun so they feel like they can do something in the comfort of their own home. The next one, very different from that, is called the Shift Shop. Shift Shop, you have to say that slowly. And that's coming out at Summit in July. So there's a new trainer, which I was kind of surprised by this because I was expecting one of the new trainer from the 20s program, but this is a brand new trainer. I don't know why I haven't heard of this, but Chris Downing is the new trainer. He's actually, which is so funny, I was at Super Saturday and I came home and started doing some research, and he is actually like from where I live, which is crazy. He's from Canton, Ohio. He has 2 gyms like around this area, and one is literally like a mile and a half from my house. So, which is kind of crazy, but he is a professional trainer and focuses on like elite athletes. So he trains professional athletes and also high school athletes that are looking to go college and go pro. So definitely a different vibe, I think, than some of the other trainers. He has 2 really great gyms around here. So it's more functional fitness. And if you look, there's a promo video on YouTube, very much like agility training, fast, fun, high energy, definitely different than anything we have in the product offering so far. It's a 3-week program, and each week it kind of changes. So week 1, the workouts are 25 minutes and the nutrition plan is this. Then in week 2, it kind of ramps up. So the workouts go to 35 minutes and the nutrition gets a little bit stricter. And then week 3, it ramps up more. The workouts are 45 minutes and the nutrition is like super clean eating. But it's a 3-week program. So it sounds cool. It looks fun. It looks like something that is going to appeal to a lot of people that are either getting started or just want something fun and different, or maybe for the athletes, more people that are looking for some functional fitness training. So it looks really cool. I'm excited about it. And I'm sure there's going to be some sneak peeks that come out on BOD. So be on the lookout. They tend to do that now. They did that with Quarter Force. And one of the workouts at Summit is going to be this workout, which is probably going to book up first, and I'm probably not going to get into it. But if I can, I think this is one I'm going to pick. He seems like he's very high energy, positive guy. So I'm excited to check that out. Okay, so those are the main announcements. So now I'm going to go into the training portion of the call of nurturing your network. Okay. So we all know, or you should know by now, whether you're a new coach or experienced coach, that one of our vital behaviors is to invite. You know, they talk about invite, invite, invite. In order to become successful, you really have to work on developing the skill of inviting. And that's really the core activity that's going to produce growth and income for your business. Whether it's growing your team or growing your paycheck, that's like a core activity you have to work on. But a lot of coaches, myself included, are really intimidated to invite. I think sometimes it comes naturally if you're really extroverted. If you have a huge network to start with, it might be easy. Some people find it easy. But if you're not, if you are more introverted, you know, if you got into this and you weren't really big on social media, it might be kind of intimidating. And this is something that I have always struggled with. And how I was kind of the training I went through when I first became a coach did not seem natural to me. It seemed very salesy, and that's not why I got into coaching. So this is something I've been working on that I know I have to develop it as a skill. And I've come across through personal development kind of some strategy or theory or things that you can try to work on inviting. Okay, so this is some of the information that's taken from that new training document about the invitation process, and I thought it was really great to share. Okay, so besides you, the unique person that you are, next to you, your network is really the most valuable business asset that you have. So your network is going to be the people you interact with on a daily basis. So whether it's people in person or your online community, that's your network. And the more it grows, the more people you interact with, the more your business can grow. And also the more engaged you are with the people you know, the more responsive they're going to be to your invitations. So part of that comes into play is engaging with people on social media. The more you're just commenting on their posts or liking things or sending them a birthday message or whatever, the more you're kind of just popping up in their social media or in their life, or sending them a birthday card or sending them a text message, you're kind of just popping up in their radar. And then when you do have an invitation or you do have something to invite them to, they're going to be a little bit more responsive because it's not going to be completely out of the blue. So as a coach, it's really important to start seeing your network as an asset to your business and treating it like an asset. So things to think about is, what can you do to expand your network? And I guess when I first started as a coach, it seemed like the training was more make a list of everybody you know and get everybody you know to do a fitness program with you or try Shakeology. And this strategy is a little bit different, as looking at who do you know and how can you meet more people and how can you make more friends and how can you learn about people and learn who has a need that you can help with. Is a totally different strategy, I think, than go target everybody you know and try to sell them something that you like. Okay, and we all know how that feels. I mean, there's all kinds of people in direct marketing kind of companies that basically just come at you with, I want to sell you something. And that's always seemed just kind of icky to me and not my style, where this makes sense to me. So something to think about is, what kind of people do you want to attract? So, and then how can you provide value, which we'll get to. So I thought this was a really good visual. So you've probably heard the terms warm market and cold market. So when you start as a coach, you'll share your journey. The first place you start sharing Beachbody and your journey is with the people you already know. So this is your warm market. It's typically your family and friends. And this is a great place to start because, one, they already know, love, and trust you. and therefore they're much more willing to take your recommendation or even just try something even if they don't want to. So it's a great place to start. It's a great place to ask for people to be your guinea pigs. If you have, you know, an idea for a new group or there's a new program coming out, it's a lot easier to ask your friends and family, like, hey, would you be in a test group? I really want to see what you think of this. Or, hey, would you mind being in this Shakeology group? I really want to get your feedback on this. So it's a great place to start. But what your whole goal should be is, yes, sharing your journey with people in your warm market, but where you're really going to find success is in the cold market. So in the people you don't already know. And a lot of people find they can kind of hang out in their warm market for a little bit and find success, and then they run out of people that are interested in making changes. And it's really, I think one thing I heard that stuck with me is, you're not looking to convince people you know to try this. You're looking for people that have some kind of need that you can help with, and finding the people that are ready to change, because not everybody's ready to change, right? So you can find people that have a need that you could help with, but they might not be ready to change. So the more people you talk to, the more you make friends, the more you're out and about and meeting people, the more you're going to find people that have a need. And personally, out of everybody I talk to or interact with, 9 times out of 10, I think in the back of my head, oh man, I know I could help them. Oh, I know this would fit in their lifestyle. I know this would work. I know this would help. I know I could help with this. Not everybody's ready, but the more people you interact with, the more you're increasing your odds of finding somebody that has a need and is also ready to change. So each week you should be trying to find ways to expand and grow your market. Okay. So that's all good and great, but like, how do you do that? Right. So that was something that was always on my mind. So some ways you can do that is to think about other interests outside of fitness or clean eating and join related groups on social media. So for me, I'm a runner. I could go and find a local running group or a local running club and find out when they meet on the weekends and try to get in for a group run with them. And just in casual conversation, meet people, say, hey, we should connect on Facebook, and then just start to form them. Okay. Or say you have, for me right now, in the past couple months, I've been experimenting with eating vegan, looking for vegan groups. And I reached out to the vegan friends that are in my network. I don't have a ton, but I sent them personal messages and said, hey, I'm experimenting with eating vegan. Do you know any like online, like Facebook groups that I could join where I could learn new recipes? Or do you know any books that I could read? But you want to try to work on starting 3 new conversations with people every day. So, Erin, I know you were a part of that group, the invitation group. So I think some of that kind of stuff is helpful in this as well. But I think it's one thing to just go through Facebook and see the people you might know, or friends of friends. Like, that's kind of the first place you start. But then you run out of people. And I think it's kind of weird to just go and like friend request people that you don't really know. So I have a group that was a mom's group after I had my youngest baby, that was like getting your body back after having a baby, which I found by buying another workout DVD. But I made some friends in there and connected, and there was already coaches in there that had kind of gotten everybody in there before I was in the group. But so things like that. So think about, I know it's hard for me as a coach. I'm always focusing on fitness and clean eating, that I kind of don't invest a lot of time in the other stuff I'm interested in. So this is something that I want to work on, is looking for more groups on social media that relate to something I'm interested in, like running, or some of the more specialized nutrition, or stuff with parenting. If you have a certain issue with one of your kids, maybe one of your kids has a severe nut allergy, finding a group that you can connect with and just making friends. And then something you want to do is just track your new contacts. I'm hit or miss with this. Sometimes I do well, and then sometimes I go through like, gosh, I haven't tracked any of this stuff. But that's a good thing to do, is just kind of keep track. What I thought was a good idea was, if you use Google, Google Drive, is just to do a Google Sheet, and every day go in there, and anytime you meet somebody new, put their name and contact information. So that way it's synced on your computer and your phone or your iPad or whatever. But then as you're meeting new people, you want to think about creating experience opportunities that you can add value to your network. And you're probably familiar with this, but things like sharing fitness tips or recipes or running free groups is a great way to kind of like a non-offensive way to invite somebody to something and offer them some value and build that relationship. Something else I do when I'm running a free group, it's so much easier to invite to a free group because those barriers aren't up. But just to say, hey, I'm running a group, you know, I ate a ton of Easter candy this weekend. I'm going to run a sugar detox kind of group. Like, would you be interested, or do you know anyone else that might be? So I start to do that too, is to ask people for referrals. Or like, hey, I know you were in my last clean eating group and I know you really liked it. Do you know anyone else? I'm going to run this group again. Do you know anyone else that might be interested in asking for referrals? It's a really great way to expand your network without having those barriers up that people think you're going to sell them something. And I know Beachbody always has a good rule of thumb is to consistently add 3 to 5 people every day. Some days that's harder than others to find 3 to 5 new people, but it's a good goal. And I thought this was interesting in the document. It said, often frustrations with lack of success in inviting have very little to do with how you're inviting and a lot to do with your network, which I thought was interesting. So if you're focusing on expanding your network every day and you're focused on just meeting new people and connecting with them and kind of making friends, you're naturally going to find new people to talk to, and you're naturally going to have new people that are seeing your content on social media that are going to come to you with questions, or at least start planting the seeds with them. Okay, so I kind of already touched on this already, but besides expanding your network, you want to create experience opportunities that let you provide value to people. Okay, and I kind of touched on that a little bit, like running free groups, running a fit group or a fit club kind of thing, sharing tips and recipes. Something that I know is kind of uncomfortable for me, but I've been trying to do is like Facebook Live videos. So that's something where you can just get on. If you're an introvert like me, it might be uncomfortable, but get on and share something you're learning, share something that's part of your journey, share, you know, I think of so many things like, oh, I should just hop on live and do this. And then I have crazy little people running around my house screaming, so I don't do it. But it's a great way to kind of let people get an idea of who you are and your personality, but also like, oh, wow, that's really cool that she just shared all that with me for free. So that's something that I'm trying to do as well. All right, so besides that, besides just saying like, oh, go out and meet new people, all of that, this is something that was never really shared with me when I was first a coach. And I think this is really important. If I could go back and talk to the me when I first started, I would talk about this. Is that when you get started as a coach and you just want to help people and you want to share your journey and you want to share your story, that's part of it. But if you get to the point where you really want to turn this into income and you really want to turn this into a business you can grow, you really have to think about developing your personal brand. Because, and I've heard this said before, like people aren't buying your products, they're buying you. And I think that's something that I never really heard in the beginning. I love the workouts and I love Shakeology. And I thought if I could share this with a couple of my friends and family and I could earn some money so that mine wasn't as expensive or it kind of offset some of the cost, like this would be fun. But like now I want this to be a solid business for me. So that's where I've gone into learning more about this. So you want to think about developing your personal brand. There's a zillion coaches out there right now. Not a zillion, but there's a lot of coaches out there. What's going to make somebody come to you versus another one? And what I want you to think about, because the comparison game is so hard, but there's only one you. Okay, so there's only, your journey is unique and there is only one you, and there are so many people out there that need to hear your story because you can help those people. They might not be in your warm market, and that's something that's really been sinking in for me for the past year is the people I need to reach might not be in my warm market, but there's a lot of people out there that I know I can help with my story because my story is unique. I can't look at any of my friends and say they have the same story as me. Okay. So think about like, what is your passion? Like, why did you become a coach? What was your why when you first started? And if you've been a coach for a while, why are you still doing it? Because my why has changed. What are you good at? What do you know a lot about? What do you want to learn about? So for me right now, I'm doing a lot of research on nutrition. I'm not the expert, but I want to learn more about it. So I'm trying to share the learning process as I'm going through it. But the internet is so powerful, and I feel like unless you've done a lot of work on social media, it can be really overwhelming, but there really is like a huge potential to make money online by doing this business. So you want to think about like who your target market is. Like if you could fill your room with people that you don't know right now, but people that you want to be friends with, who would those people be? Like, what kind of people do you want to attract to your life? If you could move into a town where you were like, wow, the people here are amazing. Like everybody that I walk down the street and talk to, they're just so cool. And I learned something from that. What kind of people are those? Because I can sit here and tell you exactly who my target market is, that I wish I had more women like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or A, B, C, D. I wish I had women like this in my life, and I don't. So what can I do to attract those kind of people? Because I know they're out there, I just have to reach them. Okay, so what you want to do is first, when you're thinking about your brand and your target market, you really need to create valuable content. Okay, and through your content is how people are going to get to know you personally and professionally. So that's something that if I could go back in time, I received really bad advice in the beginning about this, but I wanted to start a blog. And I wanted to start a blog because I have always liked to write. When I was in high school, I liked writing, and I can remember when I was a freshman in college, I came home on Christmas break, and I ran into my English teacher, and she said, oh, what did you decide to go into in college? Because I was undecided when I went there. I said, oh, I think I'm going to go with engineering. And she was like, oh, that's too bad. You were such a good writer. And I remember that. And so there's so much that I would like to share about my journey that I think is too long for a social media post. So I said, I want to create a blog. And somebody that I looked up to said, oh, no, you don't need to do that. Just start a like page on Facebook and do that. But I think what you need to think about is, how do you deliver content best? And one of the books, I'm going to touch on this in the end of my thing. One of the books that talks about this is called Why Now is the Time to Crush It, Cash In on Your Passion by Gary Vaynerchuk. This book is awesome. If you are looking for, I wish I would have read this like my first month or two as a coach. Awesome, easy read, but goes through all of this information. But basically you want to think about like, how do you deliver content best? Are you good on video? Are you good with, like, do you have a really cool voice? Would you be good starting a podcast channel? Or are you a good writer? Do you think you should start a blog? But find how you deliver content best and start something in that avenue. So if you're good on video, maybe, or you're really good, like, just spontaneously on video, that's what Gary Vaynerchuk does if you follow him. But Facebook Live might be your avenue for sharing content. If you're good with more planned out crafted video, maybe YouTube is where you want to focus. If you're good with audio, you can create a podcast. I've never been crazy about my voice, but some people have really cool voices where it's just cool to listen to them. Podcast might be what you want to go with. Or maybe if you're like me, it's writing and you have a lot to say about your journey. So you can start a blog, but somewhere where you're putting content out into cyberspace where people can find you. And when they find you and you have good content, they're going to follow you. And when they follow you, they're going to get to know you. And then they're going to come to you for advice. And that's where your business as a coach comes in. So the first step is just embracing who you are, knowing yourself, being you, sharing your story, but finding the right medium to share your story. finding the right medium to share your advice, what you're learning. And what you want to do is create, say for me, I'm working on creating a blog. And from in my blog, I'll start working on sharing content, what I'm learning, meal plans, recipes, whatever. And that's where I'm going to start expanding my network, because I hope to draw people that are outside my warm market. Facebook and how everything has changed, I don't think is the best way anymore, because of how the algorithms are and how they limit who sees your stuff. But if you create a great blog, then you can go and share content and then meet people that way, and then bring them into your social media network and then start forming them. Is that all I have on here? Sorry, ladies. Okay, so my last slide, sorry about that. When it goes to, well, sorry, I'm being scattered here. I have a couple minutes left. Some resources for this, and then I will summarize with my summary. Okay, so I talked about this book by Gary Vaynerchuk. That's a good one if you're looking for how do I expand my network besides just scrolling through Facebook and finding friends of friends. I would suggest reading this book. It's really good, and it's probably backwards because I'm on here, okay? There is a podcast channel if you like to do podcasts. Chalene Johnson has 2 podcast channels. One is called Build Your Tribe. That one, there's like a whole list of great podcasts by her on things like this. How to find a medium to share great content, how to build an email list, how to provide something of value so people give you their email address in return for whatever content. So maybe you have a free recipe book you create and you ask people to give you their contact information, their email address, and you will give them the recipe book. And then you start building your contact list from that out of your cold market. But she has so much great advice on that podcast channel. I love listening to that, especially when I'm running. She has another one that's good as well, which I can't right now think of what it is. But if you look up Chalene Johnson, they're both really good. There's another book by Gary Vaynerchuk, which I don't know if you've read this. This is on my list. I own it, but I haven't read it yet. It's called Jab, 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 Right Hook, How to Tell Your Story in a Noisy Social World. And this is a good one for navigating social media. That would be good to put on your list if you haven't read it. If you don't follow him, he uses some foul language, but his business advice is awesome, especially as trying to build your business on social media. I highly recommend following him for business tips. And then I have this book, which I haven't read yet, but it's How to Talk to Anyone, 92 Little Tricks for Big Success in Relationships. I have that one as well that I want to get to. I personally am an introvert. I do best. I really enjoy deep conversation with people one-on-one or in small groups. That's where I do really well. Big group settings, I've never been extrovert. I've never been super outgoing, really friendly, love deep conversation in small groups, but going out and just meeting new people is hard for me. So some of that kind of stuff is always on my personal development list. So just some tips for you. So my takeaway from this, or my conclusion in the last few minutes, is my strategy right now is I have my warm market, and I think you can do things every day to interact with your warm market and provide value. There's so many people that I know that I see something they're posting on social media, and I think I know that I can help them, but I have to build that trust. So that's either done by sending personal messages, very friendly personal messages, not inviting, but just the forming, or inviting them to a free group and running a free group every month. I was really good at that for a while, and it really helps because it gives you takes that wall down of just like, hey, I'm running this free group. Would you be interested? Would you know anyone? It's really easy to say yes or no to that. And then from the free group, just say like, hey, I loved having you in the group. Here's my next challenge group, and inviting from there. And it makes the process so much easier, but you just have to get in the habit of running a free group consistently so that you have that always going on. And it's just something you do. It's giving back. It's providing value without expecting anything in return. And I think that's something to get into, is what can I do every week to provide value and help people without expecting anything in return. But besides that, on Facebook and being in Facebook land, I think to really be successful, you really have to get outside your warm market. And I don't think Facebook is the best way to do that personally. So my whole strategy is that doing the blog, because I like writing. I'm trying to post some videos onto YouTube. I really like videos, but going live is not comfortable for me. I'm working on it. But create a blog, post stuff on there, or whatever is good for you, but find some way you can deliver content that works with your personality, and then invite people to that. Reach out to people on Facebook Messenger and say, hey, I'm creating a blog, or I created a blog. Would you mind checking it out and tell me what you think? Or do you have any topic suggestions of things you'd like me to research and talk about? But that's a great way to kind of get yourself out there and provide value and meet new people. Okay, so I hope that helps. I am out of time here. If you girls want me to start up a new call, so if you have any questions, we can do that. Does anyone want that? Let me see. Stop video. Okay, so I stopped the video. Can you girls still hear me? I don't know if this is going to die.
Yep, I can still hear you.
Okay. Well, I will keep talking until it dies. But if you have, do either of you have any questions? I stopped recording. No?
Nothing I can think of. You covered a lot of good stuff.
Okay. Do either of you have anything? Oh, let me